You're watching TVC Breakfast. The United Nations Population Fund, UNFPA, says that Nigeria's population has risen to a new high of 201 million, outpacing economic growth by 0.63%.
According to the UN's 2019 State of the World Population Report, Nigeria's population grew by about 5 million from 2018, when the country's population was 195 million. With such population explosion, experts say Nigeria's per capita income will continue to fall, leading to increased poverty among the populace. Joining me via Skype from Magodo, Lagos is Project Director Hazy Isaiah Owolabi. Thank you very much for joining us. Now, this population growth, it's putting a severe strain on government's ability to provide infrastructure, looking at the fact that population were growing by the day, and according to some reports, we're in 2050, Nigeria will be bigger in population than India, the United States, and some other states with high population density. What can be done?
I think a lot can be done. The first is to give women and many girls the power to make a choice, and also to invest in the education of more girls, because research has shown that when girls that complete university education, there's a higher chance of them delaying pregnancy. And the fact that we also need to increase the prevalence of contraceptives in the society and access to these, and also invest in programs that help to dispel myths.
But how do we handle the cultural beliefs that comes with this mindset of contraceptives and giving girls, the girl child, the power of choice?
So if you see what the trend looks like, you notice that from our history, there was a time when it was very, very difficult to actually penetrate some settings in Nigeria, both in the north and south, and due to religious and cultural belief. But if you see what's happening now, some religious leaders are now taking the lead, knowing that this is a development challenge. It is not a religious issue, ethnic issue, or cultural issue. It's an economic issue. And what it means is that if we want the current generation or the current children that we have today to be able to enjoy the economic benefit of our country, then there is a need to somewhat control and invest in the population. So this understanding is penetrating through religious and cultural settings gradually. It's a long process, but I can confirm that it's gradually penetrating these systems.
All right, so despite the fact that we have a huge population, China has a huge population as well, but they have been able to manage that to their advantage. Population might be a curse, but somehow it's also a blessing. How do we use this to our advantage as a nation?
Actually, there's a huge benefit in the population, because if you look at the percentage of people 15 to 64 and the percentage of 10 to 24 people, you see that if we invest in this age group, that's what we typically call demographic dividend. Singapore had this opportunity many years ago, and they invested in them. And what it means is that private sector organizations, government agency needs to invest more in the youth population, because these are going to be the economic drivers in the future. Imagine those who will get into the labor force. If they are not skilled, if they are not technologically competent, if they don't know what to do with the economy, then there's going to be a problem for us in the future. So it can also be a huge opportunity for us. Like you say, China is taking bold steps in investing in its youth population, and they are seeing a big opportunity in industrialization and economic development. Nigeria also has that opportunity today in terms of Africa and the global south generally. So we need to work with private sector, including media, government agencies. They need to be speaking the same language on the same table, even academics, to create opportunity or a conducive platform that will help to accelerate the impact of development work that focuses on investment in young people.
All right, but with what you said now, how do we strike a balance between the population growth and the economy?
So basically, it's supposed to be an interdependent process. There is no independent approach to this. it's a multi-pronged approach. So what it means is that all sectors within the economy needs to be working. Government, through the National Population Commission and Ministry of Health, need to be informing the public and making provisions on opportunities that would help to control the population. And also the private sector with Ministry of Youth, Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Labor, needs to work together, including academics, needs to work together to create the best solution in terms of jobs, accelerating impact of technology opportunities, revolutionizing agriculture, and also providing quality education that makes sure that people are not just in school, but they're actually learning in school. So all these are multi-pronged approach that would help us to reap the benefit of population and also eventually control it.
Project Director Hazy Isaiah Owolabi, thank you very much for talking to us.
Breakfast. The United Nations Population Fund, that's UNFPA, says that Nigeria's population has risen to a new high of 201 million, outpacing economic growth by 0.63%.
According to the UN's 2019 State of the World Population, Nigeria's population grew by about 5 million from 2018, when the country's population was 195 million.
With such population explosion, experts say Nigeria's per capita income will continue to fall, leading to increased poverty among the populace. Well, joining me via Skype from Magodo, Lagos, is Project Director Hazy Isaiah Owolabi. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Owolabi. Now, would you describe this 201 million persons in Nigeria as population explosion?
I would like to say that, first of all, it presents a huge threat and then also a big opportunity. But first, we need to know how to cope the threat, because when we start increasing at a rate that the economy cannot cater for people, especially people in their most productive years, then that might be very, very dangerous for the economy. If you look at the population distribution, you will see that 54% of the population is within the age group of 15 to 64 years. And you also notice a very, very terrible trend on our health system. You see that only 3% of that population distribution is over 65 years. Well, that's very obvious because the life expectancy of Nigeria is one of the lowest in the world at 55 years old. So seeing that only 3% of our population is over 65 years also put a question mark on our health system. And these are the typical questions that we need to be asking. And
now, with what you have said, but the government is reacting, saying that it has no plans to control the population despite all of this concern. Does it mean that the government does not understand the implication?
What I think is that the government might have a different approach to this. So if you also look at the population, you would notice that if you look at the last population figures, you will see that the fertility rate in Nigeria has reduced from 5.4% to 5.3%. So what that means is that more women have the power to make a choice. What is that choice about? The choice about when to give birth and where to give birth. When women have the power to make the choice, technically the government is giving the people the power to control the population. So I think that language might be taken out of context sometime.
But giving the people power to control the population, you know, when it comes to some religion encouraging people to have more children, and there are also tradition that seeks to make people get married early and also have children. Is that the way to go, really?
So I honestly think that giving the people the power to control the population means that we are making contraceptives more available to people, and then they have the power to decide when to give birth. What that means is that they have the power to decide if they want to use contraceptive or they do not want to use contraceptive. And then there is easy access to contraceptive and also good knowledge to quality medical practitioners who can give them advice on dispelling myths related to the usage
How
of
effective do you think that will be?
I honestly think that if we study what the population trend in Nigeria is and the health-seeking behavior of Nigerians, especially looking at the north-south region, you will see that we are not where we want to be, but things have really improved. If you look at our contraceptive prevalence rate in the country in the last 5 years compared to today, you see that there is progress, even though it is not what it should be, but the progress indicates that there's a big opportunity, not just with the government, but with private sector and civil society organizations to actually support government effort to make sure that we are not having a population that we are not able to serve.
All right, Isaiah Wolabi, thank you for your time on TVC Breakfast.